replay to understand. A SPAC it's called a blank check company. And I know this sounds weird, but and Derek, I'm pretty like tell me if I'm wrong, is a SPAC is basically we're gonna raise the money, and then insert the company idea afterwards once the money is raised. Well, why would I give Derek money? Why would I give you money if I don't know what you're spending on? Why? Because it's a way to get access to the stock exchange without doing an IPO. And number two, a lot of time they trust the management or the money manager explicitly and implicitly. So it's like, I'll give Derek a check. Oh, you're in the wine business? Hey, I'm in. That's my kind of interpretation of a SPAC. Is that a good way to explain a blank check company?
100% correct.
Okay. So they were doing a SPAC, which I love because I always knew the mob would get involved, and you guys were kind of tangentially involved there. Walk us through the how that, all the machinations for that.
So this particular blank check company, and keep in mind it's 2008, right? So it's really nascent days of this stuff.
Really early,
I mean, they use SPACs for other stuff before that, but in what you just described, it's the nascent days. Yeah. So the money goes back to the investors. No worry there. But there was still this shell on the New York Stock Exchange. Well, you give a fraudster like my brother and my father a shell on New York Stock Exchange, they'll put anything in it imaginable and raise a ton of money because people think, well, it's on the New York Stock Exchange, can't be a fraud, and that's what people naturally think.
Yeah, but a SPAC is legal. Why would your brother, and I know why from the previous interview, but tell everybody now a SPAC's legal. It's a license to steal almost in a way. Why do they have to do the illegal portion?
Well, so Tom, the hard part of any business, right, is making a business actually work. Yeah. Wall Street is nothing more than an engine to make businesses actually work. But, the way these underground financiers think is they want all the money right now for themselves. The idea of making a business work to them sounds like just too much work, right? Like, who knows if it's really going to function or not? Who knows if this is really going to catch on? They don't want to dirty themselves with that. And by the way, that's why, guys like Bernie Sanders say, Wall Street model is fraud. I mean, and for a large part it is, those stockbrokers, they don't care if they sell you the stock, where it goes. They got your commission and see you later now. And I know they keep trying to make moves to take that away. And by the way, that goes into a whole nother area of the new mob of white collar crime and what my father and brother got busted on with Hunter Biden. But sticking just with the SPAC, my brother didn't know what to meld in. So what he melded in were a couple of Bahamian insurance companies. So he acts like, oh, yeah, they're great. No problem. We're going to go in the insurance business. And my brother knows how to BS financial services better than anybody. Yeah. But look, at the end of the day, those Bahamian insurance companies were absolutely worthless. So he just manipulated the price on the New York Stock Exchange, sold $20 million worth, and made out like a bandit.
So they owed you a whole bunch of money as part of that deal. Why didn't they give it to you? Or what was the reason?
So, okay, so good question, Tom. So in my view, right, I just got home on the drug case, protecting them, protecting Gambino, protecting the whole world. Yeah. I figured, we're going to make 20 million. By the way, they had no idea we made 20. Yeah. I figured, well, they're going to give me at least $1 million or $2 million, after all I've done. That's just logical. Well, it turned out my part of that was just salary. And, if I had known it was salary, obviously I wouldn't have been involved. I told them at the time, I said, hey, guys, I'm going to get the same time in jail you do. So you better come off some money. And by the way, I got the same time in jail my father got, which is pretty comical considering they call him one of the top 10 white-collar criminals of all time. I mean, who am I compared to that?
He's up there. He was up there. He was known as being the Bernie Madoff before Bernie Madoff existed. All right. So you guys got jammed up. Again, click up top for the story. What type of time you're facing? What was your legal strategy? And again, you didn't roll again, even though they wanted to kill you. Walk us through that.
So legal strategy-wise, I had a problem. And anybody who's been in these situations knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. At that point, they had threatened to kill me. They'd rip me off. Ratting on my father and older brother wouldn't have really been much of a problem. But there's a problem in there. I had a younger brother on the case as well, a lawyer. A relatively straight kid that got used by my father like so many others. And when I got, to the meeting with the feds, it turned out that the only thing they were interested in was my little brother Jared Galanis. They were happy to hear about my brother and my father and all that, but they had them at the end of the day. So that was I was of no use to them in their mind. The only use I could have been was putting away my brother Jared, and that was just something I was not willing to do. Now, Tom, ironically, I will tell you this too. My editor of my book said, Derek, you've got to do it, because if you don't, he's going to invent a new reality in his head. He's going to think he was never in trouble, and you're going to be really upset later. Let me tell you, my editor is Nostradamus, because I don't talk to my little brother. He did as best as he could to stop my book from coming out. I mean, he's hindered me in every way. Doesn't think I did him any favor at all. I'm really at a loss to explain it, except to say that in these white collar cases, people start to imagine their own lack of culpability. And then what they get only enhances that, delusion.
So, okay. So what was your second bid? It was 10 years as well, I believe, right?
So I signed for 8 to 10 years, but lucky me, the state